If you are growing any kind of vining vegetable that needs a place to climb, let me show you the easiest way to put up a trellis farm. Not expensive at all. Let me show you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and the product I'm using. So first of all, these are cucumbers. All these are cucumbers, 7 boxes of cucumbers, 3 different types. So what I did was come in here and drive a T-post at the end of the rows and also in between each earth box. And as you can see, those posts are dadgum straight. That's the way I roll. So driving T-posts, I don't drive them all the way down in the ground. I drive them down to about the top of this little shovel that's on the bottom of them, and that's plenty to hold these up, even in a hard wind. So drove the T-posts in, and then it's time to string trellis. So what I have here is called Hortinova Trellis. It's from Haas Tools. In this case, this is the 59-inch Hortinova Trellis, and it comes in lengths, I believe it's from 16 feet to well over 300 feet. So this is a 300-foot roll. I've had it for a couple of years. If you buy the larger rolls of it, it works out to about 20 cents, I think, 20 cents a foot. So it's really not cost prohibitive at all. It's extremely tough. It's strong. You're not just going to break it. In fact, when you're pulling at the end of the season, when you're pulling the crops out of it, crops that you think would just snap that plastic or polypropylene grid, it doesn't. It just it pulls right out of there, and so you could use it next year. It's not something you have to use and throw away with the plant residue. You can reuse it. So it comes folded, and it looks like it's pretty short, but as you can see, it unfolds to the 59 inches. And I just wrap it around the top just to hold it in place. And then I put a tie wrap or a cable tie on one end. I go ahead and tie 3 times, one at the top, one about in the middle, and because these are earth boxes, I tie one right at the top of the earth box. If I was in the ground, I would tie it close to ground level probably. Then I go down to the other end. I haven't cut it off yet at this point. So go down to the other end, stretch it out, and see where it is I need to cut it. Mark it with my hand, and then it's easy to cut. This stuff cuts with scissors, just household scissors. And that's why it's amazing to me how tough it is, because it's so easy to work with, so easy to cut, and so light. You're not hauling around a big cattle panel and having to have 2 people lift it up and take a chance on crushing your crops if they've come up at all, because that cattle panel drops on some of your vines and it could definitely crush them. So this is just so easy. So I cut it where I want it, tie the very top, stretch it pretty tight, and then I tie this also in 3 places. And then just go down, and what I've done here is just tie the tops, and then I go back down the row. I don't know why I did it this way, just I want to make sure the top is all the way up before I start tying it in the middle. So I want to make sure it's at the very top of that trellis, because these cucumbers are going to get pretty tall, and I'll show you that in a minute. So get it tied all the way down on the top, and then I come back down and tie the middles and then the bottoms. And as I tie the bottoms, I'm also, since I've allowed these plants to get a little bit taller than what I should have, I make sure that I am pulling the bottom of the trellis down close to the plants so it gives them an opportunity to climb. I'm not just tying, I'm also fiddling with the vines and kind of making sure they're in front of the trellis and leaving the trellis behind them. So the trellis is just a little bit, an inch or 2 behind the vines. So what I did, as soon as the trellis was up and the plants, most of the plants were kind of laying down because I waited, again, just a little bit late. Should have done this earlier. And I'm just giving them a little bit of a helping hand using my tying tool for an initial tying of the plant to the Hortinova trellis. Not necessary, you can kind of weave the plant in. Just be careful you don't break the stem or something. Just be careful weaving it. And then if you've got a tying tool, which you should have, those things are worth their weight in gold. I love my tape tying tool. I'll put a link to that video after this, and there'll be a link to that tool as well as to Haas tools below this video in the description. So be sure and check that out. But this is what it looks like. Okay, that video was about 10 days ago. Look at them now. In 10 days, that thing has grown about 3 feet, at least 2.5 feet. It's up on top of the trellis, and even those in the middle, even the rest of these, now again, I planted this about 2 weeks before I planted those, but even those are up 18 inches taller than they were. I mean, these things have grown crazy. So if you'll give them a place to climb, they will climb. And this is what you come up with. That is amazing. So, hope you've enjoyed the video, hope you learned something, and I hope you'll try this Hortinova Trellis. Again, if you buy a longer roll of it, it's about 20 cents a foot. So, not expensive at all. It can be reused. If you want to take it down, it's inexpensive enough for you to throw away if you want to, but if you want to just take the time to pull all the crop residue out of the trellis, you can certainly roll it up and use it again for 2 or 3 years, I bet you. All right, I think we've trellised about all we're going to trellis today. So with that, we're gone.